Okay, welcome everybody to EuroSalon number 2, the Tate Britain. And I was asking everybody if you'd heard of it before, and it sounds like a lot of you have not heard of the Tate Britain. So I was mentioning there are two Tates. There's a Tate Modern and Tate Britain. The Tate Modern is dedicated to 20th century, 21st century art. The Tate Britain to 19th century art. There's also the National Gallery in London, which is dedicated to 17th century and before primarily, though there's some 19th century art. But if you're going for Victorian or pre-Raphaelite art, the primary place to go to in London is the Tate Britain. Okay, so I've got a couple quick updates for you. And then what we're going to do, it looks like, I'm curious also, how many of you, is this your first EuroSalon? So I'll know how much to get into it or not. If you want to say repeat or first, that's something real quick if you want to indicate that. Okay, so we got a couple first timers. Excellent. All right. All right. Thanks, Vicky. Thanks, John. Thanks, Tom. Okay, so I'll go over a little bit of what we're doing. Now, I want to indicate there are 2 QR codes here, and these are for if you'd like to share a donation. These are free, these salons, and I want you to feel like you can just jump in anytime you like and just come on in, and that will be just fine. But if you are inclined to, if you say, oh, wow, that was so much fun, please feel free to pass along a donation. I am using these donations to raise funds because this year of 2023 is the year of European art, and I'm planning at least 2 trips to Europe to do research on European art museums. So I'm raising money for that. If you're kind of old-fashioned and you like, you don't do QR codes, I'm putting in the chat right here a link to PayPal if you do that. So please, if you'd like to, but remember, this is not admission. This is not this is come in anytime. And if you'd like to donate, that's just fine. I've got several folks coming in. Come on in. I invite you to say quick hi in the chat and to let me know if you've been to Tate Britain. So we got hi Guinevere and hi Wendy.
Hi.
Yeah. Oh, hi Mom. Oh yes, I'm still accepting Venmo, definitely. So I think everybody should be seeing the QR codes there. Yeah, if you've got me on Venmo once, you can keep going there. All right, so just quick updates. If you're not in the Touching the Art app, I invite you. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. That's great. So thank you. That's what I was hoping to hear, because I thought I was sharing my screen. I've got it set up so that everything is. Oh, so you're just having a big photo of me. That's great too. Let's try that again. There's my screen. Can everybody see it now? Okay, good. So, and there are those aforementioned QR codes, and there's an image of the Tate Britain. Oh, thanks, Ginger. I've been fretting about it. I need a haircut, and I'm not quite sure. I can't get myself to go do it. So next time you might see me shorn. I don't know how shorn I'll get, but probably not as shorn as Tom, probably, but pretty shorn nonetheless. Okay, so those are a couple QR codes in case you want to donate. Don't worry, I'm going to bring those back up later on, but I'm going to get things rolling because I know it's a little bit on a later time on the East Coast. So quick update on the app. If you do not have the Touching the Art app, I want to encourage you. Every week I'm adding a new artwork, and for the next month, the app is free. This is experimentation phase, seeing how people respond, whether they like it. If you want to, I'm going to do a quick news share here just to show you what the latest on the app looks like. So if you were to go to the app, this is what you would see. And you could click on the artwork, see the artwork, hear my guiding questions. You could also, oh, look, there's comments here. So folks have been putting comments, so you can see comments and add your own comments to the artwork. Oh, surprise me. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. All right. So there you have my audio commentary. I'm going to put a link right now in the chat for that, for the app. And that is, if That's a salon at home, you could say, a salon at home. So if you miss our discussions, you can continue them virtually. And I'm very curious to see if folks are interested in using the comment section. I'm trying my best to push the comment section on the app, responding to the artworks. So if you want to do that, please do. If you put something down, I'll reply to you on the comment section on the app. I might even have some games, I don't know, some raffles for how many times you comment, just a preview in case you want to get ahead of the curve. And the link to the app, in case you're not one of the very privileged people who have the app yet, there it is. And if you just want to check out the new artwork that's up right now, I'll send a direct link to that where you don't have to register or give your name or anything. If you just want to take a look at it, that's the artwork. You can see my guiding questions. And what happens is later in the week on Sunday, I will put my full reading of this painting, which is at the Musée d'Orsay. And the Musée d'Orsay is going to be a museum that's going to come up pretty soon. Here are the EuroSalons that are happening. We've got in 12 days, the Prado in Madrid. I've never been. So this will be a lot of these EuroSalons are going to be, heck, let me see what I would do. Luckily, websites on museums are pretty good. It just so happens that the Tate Britain I've been to before, and I'll have some photos of my own from there. Coming up, Musée d'Orsay, Rijksmuseum, and a lot of other museums. If there are art museums in Europe that you're keen to know more about, please let me know. Right now, my travel plans, I'm still gathering information, getting my Rick Steves travel books and figuring things out. So please let me know if you have ones that you've been to or that you want to know more about and know the art in, or know about the art. Okay, well, let's see. All right, let's keep going. So Tate Britain, it sounded like 50-50 for those of you who have been here before. I went there in 2018. I think 2018. And it's, as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, it's primarily the 19th century works of art. In England, a lot of Victorian, a lot of pre-Raphaelite. If you want the more modern, you go to the Tate Modern. Here's an interior. There's so many hallways that are filled with beautiful art and so many walls that are salon style like this. Which means that there are a lot of artworks that that are not making the cut. This is a little bit like the Louvre, and maybe even there are more artworks in here in this museum than at the Louvre that I would spend time with giving tours on, because there's much more of that kind of art that's story based that I like. The Louvre doesn't go up to it goes up to the 19th century, but not through the 19th century. The new Musée d'Orsay in Paris is a 19th century museum in Paris. Tate Britain is a 19th century museum in London. I want to share with you the artworks that are not making the cut. So these are a bunch of artworks for a variety of reasons that just didn't quite make the cut, that maybe if I were to do a second session, a part 2, they might be included, but just so that kind of whet your appetite a little bit for some of the things that caught my eye. And just a handful here. And if you want to make a quick commentary, I'm not going to show them for long, but just to like get the eyeball juices, the leftovers. That's right. But it's such a feast. It's like Thanksgiving leftovers. This one actually really intrigued me, but it's like so after I spent time with it. This one looks kind of plain, but this actually might be one of my favorites, and maybe I'll share why I left later on. Here's one super dramatic one that I love by one of my favorite painters, Waterhouse. And this one, John Singer Sargent, is always wonderful. And one more that didn't make the cut, this one. But don't worry, because this one is on the app with my commentary on it. And heck, if you don't have the app and you want to see that one, I'm putting right now the link in the chat. That should take you directly to the artwork and my audio commentary, my guiding questions, and my reading of this painting. And I would love to hear your comments about it. I would love to hear your thoughts about this painting and my interpretation of it. I think I might have a little bit different interpretation of that one. So there's that. Okay, that's it. Let's dive in. What do you say? And if this is your first salon, I think maybe for a few of you out there, I've got 5 paintings here. And I'm focusing on painting. So sculptures are not making the cut here, though there are some nice sculptures, as you saw with that guy with the snake, strangling the snake. So I'm going to show these images. What's the standard amount of time, Molly? Is it 2.3 seconds? That might be it, right? 2.3 seconds. That's it. Just a quick first impression. And I'd like to see a quick title, your first initial title for the artwork that I'm going to show. And I invite you to put that in the chat. That'll be your first words to that artwork, just your first impression, even if it's as simple as trees or cats eating, whatever it is. All right, are you ready? The first of 5 from the Tate Britain. Here it is. It was so generous as 4 seconds, I think. What's your initial title for that one? All right, I see a lot of folks demonstrating their knowledge. Okay, keep typing if you're still typing. I'm going to read through some of these. Let's see. Going over, you have Dead Angel, Chad, Icarus, Tom, Death of Icarus, John, Fallen Angel, Janet, Icarus, Raj, Pale Death. Oh, that's intriguing. Okay, all right. Oh, by the way, afterwards we're gonna go back and take a vote on which ones you like best. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much time we have to see how much of these will go in depth. But we'll do at least 2 of them in depth, and there's maybe more. Okay, artwork number 2. What's your initial title for this one? Raj, maybe you could have the same title, Pale Death. Huh? Okay, let's see what we have. Harash, you have Hell. John, Armageddon. Guinevere, The Depths of Hell. Tom, Entry to Hell. Alan, End of Days. Chad, this is what you get. Privileges of having control of the keyboard. Is that what that is? Joseph, Entering the Abyss. Janet, Caught in the Tempest. Raj, Tempest. Wendy, Doom. Okay. All right, next one. Number 3. Here it is. Yeah, there are a couple of pretty famous ones in my 5 here. There are a couple pretty famous ones. This one might be one of the more famous paintings at the Tate Britain. Sometimes what I like to do is I glance at the artwork. When I'm in a museum, I glance at the artwork and then close my eyes and try to reimagine it. And then whatever sticks in my mind when I reimagine it, I'm like, let me name that. And it's kind of, oh, that's in the after image of what's sticking. Okay, so keep typing if you're typing. We got some variety here. All right. Whenever you have Ophelia from Hamlet. Tom, Death of a Maiden. Joseph, Pond Burial. Alan, you have death becomes her, and Chad gave you a little heart emoji for that one. Haresh, you have, going a different direction. Relaxation. Okay. And Janet, Ophelia. Okay, intriguing. All right, 2 more. Number 4, here it is. What's your initial title for this one? Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see. All right. Raj, you have not convinced. Joseph, distraught lover. Ginger has heartbreaking. Guinevere, a little laugh and gallbladder pain. She is holding her side, isn't she? Which I've never had gallbladder pain, so I'm guessing that that's what happens. Tom, you have listening to him. Alan, innocence. Janet, at the fence. So simple, yet maybe so packed with all kinds of suggestive meaning. Chad, sad. Chad, if you can keep giving titles that rhyme with your name, you'll get a prize. Haresh, pain. You saw that look a lot in your practice. I see, Guinevere. Let's see. And Ginger's already made her decision about which one. John, eavesdropping at the fence. Vicky, feeling passed over. Okay. All right, one more. And what's your quick title for this one? What's your initial title for this one? Chad, that's what I ask myself every day. Put in my car sometimes, put in my coat pocket, just disappears all over the place. Okay. Intriguing. Keep typing if you're still typing. All right. So Chad, you had, where's that comb I had? And I guess that rhymes with your name, so you're on your way there for a prize. Joseph, you've got where are you? Guinevere, is he watching me? John, searching. Haresh, anticipation. And Raja, stillness. Okay. Shoshana, just a question for you, since you've been there before. Are there any of these artworks that you haven't seen before?
The one at the fence reminds me of one I have seen, but I don't think I've seen this one.
Okay.
Okay. Just, I think I've seen that woman.
Yeah.
And, and kind of holding herself in pain. Just, anyway, that one looks familiar, but not with the fence. Not sure, but what I think.
Yeah. All right. So what I'm going to do now, I need to do this. Do I need to turn on? Can I mark things? I think I should be able to mark things. Can I put number 1? Oh, that's not going to work. Let me. Don't look at me. I'm just moving around a little bit because I need to be able to mark, and then we're going to do a quick vote. So I'm going to go back over all 5 of these real quick. Think about which one you like the most. I'm going to put numbers on these soon. So we had this one, which was that fallen angel, entrance into the abyss. Pontoon or relaxation. Fence or passed over. Girl in a boat. Okay. So I'm going to call this one number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Which one most intrigues you? Got 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 5, 3, 3. Wow, okay. So 2 and 3 are getting the most votes. And I'm curious, right now, 2 is kind of surprising, but I'm glad because I've got that one. I'm definitely want to feature. For number 3, how many is anybody already familiar with it? Shoshana, I'm betting you are. Anybody else already familiar with number 3? Very curious. Ginger is, yeah. So, when John, you're not okay. Okay, I was curious because that might be the most famous one. All right, so let's do this. We are going to start with one particular artwork, and then, yeah, we're gonna do 2 and 3, and if we have time, we're gonna do one more. I'm gonna start with one of these. Guinevere, that's wonderful. I love a crowd that knows nothing. It makes my knowledge go farther. Is that why Diogenes taught dogs? So I could teach them a whole lot. Little philosophy joke. So let's begin. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 minutes just on your own. You can spend that 2 minutes looking closely at the artwork, maybe writing out your own reading of the artwork. You can jot down some things in the chat. In 2 minutes, I will ask you to push enter for any reading, or if you'd like to read your thoughts out loud. I love hearing your reading, your journey through the artwork. I'm going to have a series of close-ups for you to go through during those 2 minutes. So I'm muting myself for 2 minutes, and the next amount of time is yours with the artwork. As I mentioned, I'll have a couple of close-ups. Take about another 20 seconds or so. All right. If you're writing something out, I invite you to find a stopping point. Feel free to share in the chat, or if you'd like to unmute yourself or raise your hand to share a reading out loud. I'd like to give priority to anybody who wrote out a reading. If you prefer to just put it in the chat, that's great. And I'm happy to read that out. And then I'll have a few questions for you. We'll try to piece together what's going on. Then I'll share the title, any background story, and then we'll see if we can make some personal connections or literary or movie connections. Okay. Let's see. Chad, I wonder if you'd like to read what you put down out loud.
Sure, but Guinevere was first. I don't know if you saw hers.
Oh, I'm picking you first because yeah, see, I want to embarrass you first.
All right, that's fair. All right. Her right hand rests on the fence, giving her emotional support, even though it doesn't look like she's putting much pressure on it. She's upset as a man, likely her would-be lover, helps another woman to a fruit from the tree she couldn't reach. The main character is sad and wishes she was on the other side of the fence, receiving the assistance of that man. One hand on her heart, her eyes closed, she listens to the sound of their exchange, leaning against the fence to get as close as she can to the man she loves.
Okay. And one thing I like to do when I'm hearing somebody else's reading of an artwork, I like to pick up on the details that I didn't notice, or maybe the wording and the phrases that I find helpful in piecing together what's going on. So that phrase, she's gaining emotional support. I like that phrase in the way she's using that hand almost to gain some emotional support. And it looks like you're describing her as wishing or yearning to be on the other side of that fence, to get the assistance of this man. And she's trying to get as close as she can to him. Okay. That's intriguing. See, Guinevere, would you like to read yours out loud?
Did you ask me, Luke? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Guinevere, yeah.
Yeah, it's not so much a full reading. It's just some thoughts I had while I was looking at it. But sure.
Absolutely, please.
I think the girl is in pain. It looks like heartbreak. She looks well-to-do. She's well-dressed. And it looks like a man is teasing another girl behind the fence, maybe with a flower. I think the well-dressed lady loves the man, but he does not love her. He either loves the other girl or he's a flirt and he can't settle. And I think the beam of light highlights the lady's pain, how it comes in. I like how it highlights her face and her hand, and that's the white lace in her sleeve holding her side in pain.
So Guinevere, it looks like you're looking at two possible hypotheses for the story. One is that she wishes she could be with a man, or two, that there might be some kind of betrayal, that he's a flirt and he's off with another girl while she was thinking he would be with her, and that there's heartbreak there. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I'm not even certain that I thought through it that much. I was thinking that he may not even know that this woman loves him. She may just.
Oh, that's a good question to go from. That's a good question.
Yeah. With the other girl and in pain, and either he knows or he does. I don't know. I hadn't thought that.
Well, that's a good question to ask. What is the relationship of these three characters? Maybe especially what is the relationship of our sad girl and the man on the other side of the fence? Do they know each other well? Is this somebody that she thinks she barely knows and wishes she had a relationship with? Is this somebody she already has a relationship with and is feeling upset that he is flirting with somebody else? So Raj, I'm seeing in the chat, you put down the boys have let her down about something and she is rather distraught. The seemingly innocent prank had bad consequences for her and she feels disappointed at their apathy. Oh, okay. So you're looking over here. And when you say boys, Raj, you mean you're looking at these two and you're thinking they're two boys. So that's a good question to ask. Are these two boys or is this a boy and a girl? Yeah, go ahead, Raj.
Seems like two boys to me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of mocking or kind of don't seem to have shared the concern that she seems to have, but not them.
Yeah. Yeah. So my first impression was that this was a girl, but the blue ribbon, I think the blue hat ribbon is female. And I'm curious if there are any other details that you see that makes you say either male or female and for these. I'd say maybe, okay, the bangs and the lips, Guinevere is saying. I'm also looking at the hand, the two hands, and seeing one with rather thinner fingers versus his. And Vicky, the gesture they're making is rather flirtatious. That's not playfulness between boys, but more flirtatious gesture. And Alan, you're asking why is the boy or girl looking through the fence? Are you speaking about this person here, Alan? So this is interesting. I'm wondering, we don't see the eyes, and I'm curious. My interpretation here, I'm curious to hear anybody else's, is that this person is looking upwards here where the hand is rather than through the fence. Now, I think there are some clues that suggest who she is. And maybe if we looked a little bit more closely at her. Guinevere, you're saying that the two may not even know the lady is there. Yeah, they're the ones making the noise. There's laughter, there's playfulness. Ginger noticed that she's wearing a ring. That's always a wonderful hint to suggest something. She's wearing a ring. So if that's the case, she's wearing a ring. Is that her husband? Did she walk along, hear something, some laughter, and maybe his voice come along to try to see and just maybe noticed and realized who this is? And at this moment, maybe the pang of hurt at her side is accentuated. And she leans against the wall, almost gripping it with that hand. And yeah, Janet, it does look like there might be a wedding ring there. And Alan, you're thinking the girl on the other side looks rather young. And Raj, maybe that suggests that maybe that was a little bit of the boyishness there too. Yeah, we don't see a lot of that person, but we do see some flirtation going on. Okay. Let me give a summary and see what you think. A young woman on a walk happens to hear two lovers being flirtatious, and she comes upon them and recognizes his voice, the voice of her husband, and realizes that he is flirting with another woman. Does that sound like a fair summary so far of what we're gathering together? Oh, or she followed him here. That's interesting. Maybe she followed him. Yeah. Okay. And the man looks kind of young too. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Title time. The broken vow. The broken vow. She married a cad. Hey, Marilyn. I love it when you come in with a hot question like that. So you don't like this guy at all, huh? Oh, He is handsome, isn't he, though? Look at that long, greasy hair. I mean, I think she's beautiful. Wow. Too effeminate. Okay. Too much of a playboy. And she's too good for him. And Alan, you've changed your first impression from innocence to betrayed. Oh, so rather than change, evolve it. Evolve it just like you would, you're reading a mystery novel and you don't have the right character. You're flighty. Good. I love it. Be flighty when you're reading art. So there is no background story to this artwork, just broken vow. But I'm trying to identify the kind of moment that's being portrayed here. And it appears to me the kind of moment that you have just discovered some kind of infidelity or broken promise or something to that effect, some kind of betrayal. And you have just immediately realized it kind of in secret. Now, if you can think to your own life of something like that, and bring back that moment, then that will be the way to maybe empathize with her character and to really feel the emotions there. And I'm sure to whatever degree we can get a sense of that kind of feeling of betrayal to whatever degree we can, and then try to empathize her with it. I'll give you a small one for me. I remember teaching a class and overhearing students saying, oh, they didn't like Mr. Travers very much. And I'm like heartbroken. I was like, oh, no. Now, it's part of my realization, like not all the students are going to like me, but that felt like a pain in my side. So yes, title is A Broken Vow. And now I can kind of relate to her. But the other way to relate, of course, is to think of movies or literature. Are there any scenes like this that you can think of where somebody has just discovered a betrayal? I'll give you one right now. We just finished. Well, it's kind of one. Just finished reading Othello with my high school students. And the whole premise of that is one character trying to set up situations like this to make it look like there are infidelities going on. So if you've read or know the story of Othello, you might be able to think of scenes that are similar to this. Anything else that you can think of from movies, literature, that might be able to draw in some of the emotions that are similar to this one? Oh, man. Ginger, break my heart. A Little Fall of Rain. I guess that would be afterwards when she accepts that he's moved on. But Eponine seeing, what's her name from Les Miserables? Marius and Cosette. Thanks. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Alan, Julius Caesar. Was it the Tu Brute scene? Okay. Yeah, that Eponine reference does a lot for me. Harish, you're thinking of Atlas Shrugged. Oh, and the character Cheryl and yeah, another character. Yeah, in case there's spoilers there. All right. Those are good. Eddie Willer's from Atlas Shrugged you're thinking? Oh yeah, that, yeah. All right. Last two questions. Raj, it's good to have you, Raj. An absolute asshole. Yes. Maybe the worst one ever. What's your favorite detail of this painting? A detail that you find particularly moving or memorable? I'll give you two of mine. The hand on the wall. Yeah, the one that's slightly gripping, but the fingertips pressed against it. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. And if you could, one thing I love to do is make the paintings just about the hands, and looking at the variety of expressions in their hands, his dangling one and her reaching up, and then our Eponine. Yeah, both hands too, the one pressed against her. Whenever you have the other hand, the one on her side, and her blue skirt. Just love the skirt. This is the artist's name, Philip Hermogenes Calderon. I don't know any of the other works by him, but this one at the Tate Britain really caught my attention, and I love spending time with it. I want to say 1856. And then Janet, one detail you have, the touch of vibrant red of her garment near her throat. Yeah. And Chad, the ring, such a little detail that makes the interpretation so much more clear. Yeah. And Marilyn, you're even thinking maybe her outfit makes her look like she's pregnant, which might even heighten it. And is there a hole? Oh, the hole in the fence right here. And is that the other girl's dress? Pink dress? Ah, that's a nice observation. Do I have a close-up? No, I don't have a close-up. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. All right. Is that Mediocrity's evaluation of the painting? You liked it all right? Oh, did you like this one? I think I'm going to remember it as Eponine. Yeah, they loved it. Roger that, Alan. Roger that, Vicky. All right. Are you ready to do another one? You're injecting humor into a horrible situation. Gotcha. Wendy, you found it beautiful and interesting. Yeah. Okay. So let's do the second one here. And I'm going to give you a little bit shorter period of time, and we're going to try to end. Right now it's 9:47 in East Coast. We're going to try to do this in 15 minutes and wrap up. So here it is. I'm going to give you 1 minute this time, just 1 minute. And if you're familiar with this painting, think about the kind of moment, what moment it is, what personal connection question you might ask for this painting, for this moment. Think about another 15 seconds or so. All right. If you have something written out that you'd like to share vocally, I'll give priority there. If you just have some observations about what do you think is going on in this scene, who she is, what is she doing, where is she going, why does she look forlorn? And I'm going to read a couple of things I'm seeing here. Marilyn, it drives me crazy that that lovely quilt is dragging in the water. It is a lovely quilt, isn't it? And maybe some of those details there. Bye, Vicky. Good to have you. And you hadn't noticed the crucifix on the helm before. And whenever you have the candle flame is horizontal, like it's windy. So the candle flame, oh yeah. Two of those candles look like they are out. Maybe some of her hair is blowing in the wind a little bit. And Tom, you're literally befuddled. Okay. All right. And Marilena, the front, maybe helm is wrong. Okay. Yeah. I don't know my nautical terms either. Fore and aft, something like that. Prow. Mm-hmm. Chad, you've had very uncertain about this, but my best guess, the soldiers have gone off to battle and she's tensely waiting for her man to return. Okay. So I'm just going to describe what I'm seeing for just about 20 seconds here, or let Janet start and then kind of do a quick like oral reading. Janet, you've got, she's despondent. Great. Despondent and drifting away with the current, whatever it will take her, wherever it will take her. She has all the trappings that are regal and aristocratic. So those are wonderful details and wonderful observations. So first of all, my follow-up question there to add more to your reading, to become less befuddled, Tom, is what do you see that makes her look despondent? And what do you see that makes her seem like she's just going to drift away? Like she's not really taking any action. But at the same time, she seems to have all these trappings of aristocracy. So maybe the good question to ask, I like to play the game, the clue game. Can you find 3 clues that show how despondent she is? We've got that open mouth. Look at those droopy brows. The hand, right hand languidly laying a chain of the boat aside. Yeah, those very dark lids. And then the left hand in her lap, haphazardly. It doesn't look like she's really trying anything. There's no effort. She's not hurrying anywhere. And maybe Marilyn, the fact that she's got the those nice quilts in the water is another reason why she seems to be just absolutely not paying attention to the world around her. Is she going on a trip? There's no luggage, and it seems like a really fancy boat. Is she trying to escape someplace? No, there's no urgency. It just seems like she's walked through from these steps, come onto the boat, and then now is letting the river take her. If there was an image of letting go of your willpower, I think this might be it for me. All right. Yeah. And Guinevere, that might be a good quote. I can't take my life anymore. I'm going. Oh, we forgot to do quotes for the other painting. Oof. Okay. Janet, you have her facial features and body language suggest that despondency. She's limp, languid. Those are great words. Her thoughts and emotions appear heavy. And I'm curious if anybody wants to follow up with Guinevere. What do you imagine her thinking at this moment? Marilyn, you have the combination of candles and crucifix seems macabre. Yeah. Okay. There's something written on the prow. It's hard to read. That might be a clue. When do you have, is it daylight? The day itself looks like it's despondent. Why does she need the lights? Yep. How long is she planning to be in the boat? Well, it looks like she's alone. If we were here, what we might do is we might, well, let me ask this. What are some, if you stripped her away from the scene and just were to look at this as a landscape, what words would you describe the mood of this landscape? And then Alan, you're asking, okay, what, moody, yeah. What is that on the last step behind her? Yeah, let me show that. I think that's a little bird. I don't know my birds though. Yeah, two birds. Okay, so right now, I'll just sum up what we have so far. We have this despondent looking young woman who seems to not really need to be despondent about much because she's pretty well off and she's beautiful and she's got her own boat. But she seems to have gone into this boat without much urgency and is letting go and about to let the water, the river, take her wherever in the kind of eerie, gloomy landscape, maybe with the wind blowing and some chittering of insects and animals. So Alan, you're drawing a connection maybe to the other painting and wondering what happened. Did a man do her wrong? Oh, we don't have any evidence of any rings, so we can't draw on that, can we? And Marilyn's saying the foreground is gloomy, but I see a glimpse of lovely green meadow through the trees. Yeah, there's a bit of a lovely green meadow. All right. Are you ready for background story? Oh, hey, Violet. Oh, she reminds you of Guinevere. Violet, you might recognize this. All right, so this is Arthurian. This is from the time of Guinevere. And this is a story of a young lady who lived in a tower by herself and was cursed not to be able to look outside of her tower. But she did have a nice mirror that she could see the reflection of reality through it. Here's another painting of her in her tower. And she had all that she wanted to live, and she just couldn't look outside. And she would get bummed out when she would see something like, I think you can make out what's going on in this image. A nice couple together. She would spend her time doing all kinds of weaving of the things that she would see in her mirror clear, but she would get sad because she would want companionship. One day in her mirror, she sees a handsome knight riding by. It just so happens to be Sir Lancelot. And she doesn't think twice. She turns around to look outside, which the curse told her not to do. And the curse comes upon her. And the curse is that she will soon die. Lancelot goes away, not having noticed her. And so the Lady of Shalott walks down to her boat, forlorn, knowing that her doom is here. And I'm just going to read a small part of Alfred Tennyson's poem, The Lady of Shalott. which this painting by John W. Waterhouse is based. So here's the description of the exterior and a description of her. And the stormy east wind straining, the pale yellow woods were waning, the broad stream in his banks complaining, heavy the low sky raining over towered Camelot. Outside the isle, a shallow boat beneath a willow lay afloat. Below the carven stern, she wrote, the Lady of Shalott. So I'm guessing that's what's carved at the front of the boat. A cloud-white crown of pearl she dight, all raimented in snowy white, that loosely flew, her zone and sight clasped with one blinding diamond bright, her wide eyes fixed on Camelot. Though the squally east wind keenly blew, with folded arms serenely by the water stood the queenly Lady of Shalott. I'm going to skip a little bit. As when to sailors while they roam by creeks and outfalls far from home, rising and dropping with the foam, from dying swans wild warblings come, down blown shoreward, so to Camelot still as the boat head wound along, the willowy hills and fields among, they heard her chanting her death song, the Lady of Shalott. A long-drawn carol, mournful, holy, she chanted loudly, chanted lowly, till her eyes were darkened wholly, and her smooth face, sharpened slowly, turned to towered Camelot. So that's describing her taking the boat, heading to Camelot where Sir Lancelot is, but knowing that she will not see him. And in her last moments, she starts to sing a carol, mournful, holy. So how do you personally connect to this? What kind of moment is this? It's a moment where you know you cannot do anything to forestall doom, or you cannot stop the inevitable, but you might take some final action. So here, a question might be, what do you do when there's nothing left for you to be able to do to change your future? How do you approach it? How do you respond to it? And maybe you might be able to think of, especially of literary or historical characters. It's a little bit tougher to personally connect to this. You might think of smaller scale things. Maybe like the lady that we just spent time with, the Eponine. She's had to make some kind of decision about, or some kind of approach at the doom of her relationship with the young man. This is something that you might think of in literature, in history. I think of often Nathan Hale from history as somebody facing execution, or perhaps it could be, oh, I don't know. Oh, I see friends. Hey, could be something. Hey, could be something like from Les Miserables, and you think of the young students rebelling and how they have to meet their fate. And I'm going to read a little bit here. All right, so whenever you have my fate, I meet with head held high. Janet, you have carry on with style. Marilyn, that's a good poetry connection. Rage against the dying of the light. The lady doesn't seem to have a lot of options. That's true. Chat CP3PO and the Dune Sea is like the opposite. Right. We're all doomed. Okay. That's Star Wars reference, I guess. Let's see. And Alan, seriously, this is the first time I'm glad to know the background story of a painting. I had no clue what was going on, and that led to this moment. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is one where we can't pick out the clues to figure out all that's happening, but what we can do is get the impression. I think even Guinevere, you said it looks like she, what did you say? I can't take my life anymore. I'm going. That was a quote you gave her without knowing the background story and just looking at her, and I think it still applies. Oh, you did? Great, Guinevere. Okay. What's your favorite detail? One detail that you especially like. Oh, Harish, that's a great example. Cyrano de Bergerac. I fight on, I fight on. I'll point out one detail I like. These are her weavings, the ones that she would do from her mirror, the quilt. Violet, you like her limp hand. Yeah. And Marianne, you also like that quilt. So this is going to be her deathbed. And maybe she's bringing that quilt along. Well, she's bringing that quilt for the deathbed, but also maybe to tell a little bit of her story. The poem keeps going that she floats down into Camelot and everybody sees her. And she's dead in the boat. And one person there that sees her and says that she's got a beautiful face. And the person that sees her that says that is Lancelot. All right, whenever you have her right arm is beautiful, graceful, with the sleeves draped. Yeah. And Janet, you like her face. It's refinement. Okay. We're at 10:07 p.m. And we spent time with two paintings. I guess they're both of heartbreak. And I just want to get a quick idea from you of the rest of these. Which ones, I'm going to put numbers again on them. Which one do you wish we'd spent time with? Number 1, number 4, or number 5? If we were to do one more, which one would it be? Got several 4s. Hey, Linnea, number 5. And Wendy, number 1. Okay. All right. What I'm going to do is I've got, not 5, says Ellen. Number 5 is one by John Martin, painter John Martin, and there's one artwork by John Martin in the app and Stories in Paint. I'll share that link so you get a little bit of that, and I'll bring back up the other one next time. So to wrap up a little bit here. Okay, so this is, let me share. Yeah, I'll have to find it. I'll share it in a moment. So thank you for indicating which ones looked intriguing to you. I want to wrap up real quick by bringing back up the QR codes. If you would like to make a donation, there's one for Venmo or one for PayPal. Donations are more than welcome to help with my research travels to Europe. And then, oh, yeah, Marilyn, I think Sarah's answered that question for you. Yeah, but there was a lot of interest in something similar there. If you want more about the girl in purple there, she's on the app. I'll put the link there. And let me pull up real quick. I'll put the link to the other. That's, some of you might recognize that other John Martin painting there. If you do, I'll bring up a link to that one on the app and you can spend some more time with it. And I'm curious if there are any as I mentioned before, I'm going to be doing a lot of these European art museums. Are there any art museums in Europe that you would want to see a salon for? And feel free to share that information. I'll put one more link here. This is just a link to the app in general. Chad, the Uffizi. Yeah, the Uffizi is a challenging one. The Uffizi is a challenging one. Okay. This is a link to the John Martin painting. Alan, all of them, but especially the ones I have not been to for museums. So Germany, Netherlands, Spain, a lot of France, and I don't know, a lot of other countries. Harish, thank you. The next one, the next one is February 12th. It's a Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. It'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern time, Super Bowl Sunday. Okay, any final thoughts or questions? Yeah, thank you everybody for sharing. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Guinevere. Thanks, Janet. Thanks, Tom. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks, Ginger.